My name is Nick.
My name is Jenny.
And welcome to How to Pack Your Pack, Lesson 1. So, the art of packing your pack is really quite a subjective process. It's different for everyone, and honestly, it takes a whole lot of trial and error, a whole lot of uncomfortable backpacking, in my experience. Seems like you agree.
Oh, yes.
But there are some basic principles and rules that we're going to talk about today that ought to help guide you so that you can be set up for success. So, I like to put heavy stuff at the bottom generally because most of the weight is going to be resting on our hips here, right? Our hips are going to be bearing the load. So I like to put a lot of heavy stuff where my hips are going to be and a lot of the bulkier stuff as well. Also, the stuff that I don't need to access during the day is also nice to have in less accessible places, right? If that makes sense.
What would you like to start with, Nick?
Let's begin with the sleeping bag. Being that it's so bulky, I like to throw that in first. And my biggest fear in the backcountry is hypothermia. You know, I'd much rather have giardia. I'd almost rather get struck by lightning.
You'd rather have giardia?
I would rather have giardia than hypothermia. Giardia ain't gonna kill me. Alright? This is gonna strengthen my intestines. Hypothermia, on the other hand, is really scary and a real threat. So I always put my sleeping bag in a garbage bag just to make sure that it stays dry. This is my last ditch emergency get warm quick system is a sleeping bag and a trash bag. Especially because it's a down bag. So I like to stuff it in the bottom here. Most backpacks have a bottom pocket. But in fact, I put all of my entire sleep system in the bottom so it's all together. So I'll take the bag please, Miss Jenny. Thank you. Oh, this is a pad. I also will like to throw a pair of warm socks in the bottom here, usually in my sleeping bag. So they always stay dry and they're going to be there. I'm going to sleep in them. Along with I have my little luxury item is my pillow. And we all know that makes such a big difference. So bam, that's the bottom of the pack. At this point, I've rigged on this pack here some little bungees. I like to strap my tent across the bottom here. So Jenny, will you please kindly do the honors of shoving that bad boy through there? Goes through the... Beautiful. Thank you. And there you go. Got a tent, whole sleeping system right there. Bang, bam, boom. Organized, weight distributed nicely. So, next, what I like to throw on my pack are my clothes. Those will go on the inside. Also, throw my clothes in a trash bag because I want them to be dry. So, these get shoved in here. Great. Clothes on the bottom. I generally don't need to access these during the day, so I'm not too worried about being them shoved down in the bottom. Next is food. Being that I'm burning all these calories all day, I want my food to be on the top because I eat a lot when I'm in the backcountry. And that trail mix in reaching distance is nice to have. So here's my food bag. I usually just throw it in an old stuff sack. Makes it easier to hang it at night. And then, so now, as you can see, I have this nice, full, well-distributed, equal pack. Now, we can move to the top of the pack. The brains behind the operation, yes! Alright, it's also really important to have important things accessible at the top. Or you want your important things to be accessible, yeah, that's what I said.
Like your rain gear.
Like your rain gear!
Wow.
Suddenly you're walking along, you're up at elevation, the sky is nice, and the sky opens up. Thunder, lightning. Got your ink here. So that guy up there in the brain, and naturally, along with the rain gear, wouldn't want to throw my pack cover in there. Not everyone uses a pack cover. I like to have one handy. Anyway, I throw my stove and cook system on the outside here. So I've got my pot, and I've got the rest of my cook system here, stove, spoon, that sort of thing. It's just a space where it fits well in my pack, and it's doesn't really need to be easily accessible, but it helps with the weight distribution.
I just worry about the way that this pack is leaning out, pulling out here. I worry about the weight pulling on the person's back.
And that's not a good thing. Luckily, my cook system's relatively light, and I don't have enough space for it. But you should listen to Jenny about that. Also, some packs have these handy little hip pockets right here. They keep my knife in my hip pocket because, you know, this thing comes in handy, and sometimes without taking my pack off, I just need to bust my knife out. And I keep my compass in my hip pocket because I find my way off trail a lot, and I find myself using this a lot. So it's always nice to have a compass. And there you have it, folks.
What about water?
Water.
Water.
How could we forget water? Very, very important aspect of survival. Honestly, perhaps the most important. So let's get this part all strapped up. Good to go. And where does the water go, Jenny?
I like to keep mine one here, full bottle, and one on the other side, full as well. To keep that weight distribution equal on both sides, so you're not pulling to one side or the other.
Awesome.
Good job.
This is a nice, full, well-packed pack that you have right here. Now we're going to show you how to put it on.
So first I'm going to start with the hip belt. Get that nice and secure around my hips. Then I'm going to pull down on the shoulder straps to pull it onto my back. And what you really want is the shoulder strap to be snug right against the curve of your shoulder. You can see here that the shoulder strap is way too big. If I can try to adjust this, pulling down on the brain, that does nothing. And if I keep pulling on the shoulder straps, that's just pulling my shoulders way back. And it's very uncomfortable. So this pack is too big.
So that's what you shouldn't do. Just put a pack on that's too big.
First, I'm going to start by tightening my hip belts. Yeah, right on top of my hips. I want them to fit snugly on the top of my hip bone. I have very high hips, so this pack sits very high. So that's nice and secure. Next, I'm going to pull down on the shoulder straps and adjust those. And as we see, the shoulder straps fit snugly on top of the shoulders, and it feels a lot better than when I was wearing a pack that was too big. Lastly, I'm going to make sure that the brain straps, I don't know what they're called, I call them brain straps, are secure so that this is fitting snugly with everything inside. And then for good measure, I'm going to adjust the chest strap. This can be a little complicated for women as it needs to fit above the breast, but make sure it's not too tight, that it's just kind of keeping everything secure. And there we have it. I like to tuck my excess straps right in here so that while I walk, they're not just flailing about. There you go.
Looking great, Jenny. Seems like you have a pretty high capacity for activity right now.
Ready for fun.
Yeah, looks good. Seems pretty balanced, pretty well adjusted, pretty snug. I would say that this lady right here is ready to climb some mountains. Well, that's our instructional video for the day. Thank you all so much for your undivided attention, and we hope that now you know how to pack a pack and that you have a great time in the backcountry.